Welcome to the AutoSys training video. By the end of this video, you will learn to create HTTP jobs to automate HTTP requests. To enhance the learning experience, we will use an example of a fictitious bank called the Head Morrow Bank and demonstrate how to automate their HTTP requests using HTTP jobs and resolve their challenges. Head Morrow Bank is a multinational bank with many branches across the globe. As one of the compliance reporting requirements, the Head Morrow Bank must regularly send various financial and operational data to regulatory authorities. The reports include financial statements, risk assessments, and other relevant information. The data in the report must be organized and formatted according to the specific requirements of the regulatory authorities. The data fetched from multiple data sources and the data compilation are not happening on time due to manual processes in place. If the data is not sent on time, it can be deemed non-compliant and lead to financial penalties and loss of reputation. To overcome this challenge, the workload automation developers at Head Morrow Bank can use HTTP jobs to automate the compliance and reporting workflow. The workload automation developers at Head Morrow Bank can create the HTTP jobs to start the executions for the data fetch from various data sources and perform data compilation to create the reports per the format requirements. Before we create and set up the HTTP jobs, let's understand how the HTTP job functions. HTTP job automates sending requests to web services, APIs, or web applications using HTTP protocol. The job type supports automatic submissions of requests to fetch, send, update, and delete data using GET, POST, PUT, and DELETE HTTP methods. The response from the external applications can be used to determine the success or failure of the HTTP job. Also, the response can be used by the successor jobs as a start condition. Let's enter our training environment and create a couple of dependent HTTP jobs. The purpose of the predecessor HTTP job is to start a SQL job to fetch the data from the database using the AutoSys REST API event start job. And the dependent HTTP job continuously monitors the status of the predecessor job for a defined time and completes with a success or failure status when the predecessor HTTP job completes its execution. For this demo, we are using the AutoSys Web Services REST API as the external application. Log into Web UI and click the Quick Edit tab to create the job definition. In the Quick Edit tab, click Create. The Create Object dialog opens with a list of job types. Select the AutoSys server from the server dropdown. Click HTTP in the Jobs section. AutoSys displays the Create HTTP job window. In the Primary Details section, provide the HTTP job name, the target machine name, and a short description about the job. In the HTTP tab of the Properties section, select 12 as the AutoSys agent compatibility version for the HTTP web service. Select Post as the HTTP method from the Type dropdown. Provide the URL for the host. And select the payload type from the Payload Content Type dropdown. Select the Load from Local File checkbox and provide the request payload in the Content field. Expand the Authentication Parameters section and provide the username for connection authentication and basic from the authentication order list. Ensure that the selected user has appropriate access privileges on the external application. If not, the job fails. Click Save Job to save the job definition. AutoSys successfully creates the predecessor HTTP job and displays a confirmation message. Similarly, let's create the dependent HTTP job. In the Primary Details section, provide the HTTP job name, the target machine name, and a short description of the job. In the HTTP tab of the Properties section, select the AutoSys agent compatibility version for HTTP web service as 12. Select GET as the HTTP request type, and provide the URL for the host. Expand the authentication parameters. Provide the username for connection authentication. Ensure that the selected user has appropriate access privileges on the external application. If not, the job fails. Select Basic from the authentication order list. Expand the success criteria. Select a regular expression from the list to use as a filter. Define expression. Define a regular expression that is used to evaluate the expression result. Now expand the connection parameters and provide the failure retry count, failure retry interval, and connection retry count. Click the General tab and define the condition. Click Save Job to save the job definition. AutoSys successfully creates the dependent HTTP job and displays a confirmation message. Now you can start the predecessor HTTP job and check its status along with the statuses of the dependent HTTP job and the SQL job. To start the predecessor HTTP job, navigate to Quick View tab, select AutoSys Server in the Server field. Provide the job name in the name field and click Go. AutoSys displays the matching one or more job names and their initial status in the Search Results section. Select the predecessor HTTP job and select Start, and then click Go. AutoSys displays a pop-up message asking for confirmation to start the HTTP job. Click Yes. If the start conditions are met, the job starts execution and initiates the data fetch by executing the SQL job. AutoSys also displays a message stating that the job has started successfully. The dependent job automatically starts to monitor the status of the predecessor HTTP job. You can click the job name in the search results. The search results section displays the job name with its current status as success. Also, in the job details pane, its current status is displayed. In the job flow section, AutoSys displays the predecessor and dependent jobs in the order of their definitions and with their success status. Let's watch another demo and learn how the workload automation developers can seamlessly implement the web services orchestration using two dependent HTTP jobs to authenticate and verify the existence of a data file in the cloud storage bucket. These HTTP job definitions are already created. During this demo, we will review the definitions of the two HTTP jobs and understand how the web services orchestration is implemented. To view the job definitions, navigate to the Monitoring tab and open the HTTP job flow in the Flow tab. Open the predecessor job definition in Edit mode. The function of the predecessor HTTP job is to automate the authentication token fetch using the web services for the dependent job consumption to access the cloud storage buckets. So, to get the authentication token using web services, the HTTP tab of the job definition must contain the web service endpoint URL, the request payload, and the response payload. Expand the response variable section. In this section, define an expression to grep the authentication token from the response payload and store it in the variable auth token. On the job run, the HTTP job gets the authentication token using the web service. Now let's review the dependent HTTP job definition. The function of the dependent HTTP job is To access the cloud storage bucket through web service using the authentication token generated by the predecessor job, and to check for the existence of a data file. Open the dependent HTTP job definition in edit mode to review the job definition. To access the cloud storage bucket, the HTTP tab of the dependent job definition must contain the web service endpoint URL and the time-based or dynamic authorization token. Expand the header parameter section. Select the keyword as authorization and construct a web service orchestration or WSO expression to get the authentication token from the predecessor job. While defining the expression, select the predecessor job from the job name dropdown. Select response variable as the data source and the auth token as the variable name. Now, to enable the job to verify the presence of a data file in the cloud storage, let's add success criteria using a regex expression. To do so, expand the success criteria section. Select expression type as regex and provide the file name in the expression field. Now expand the connection parameters and provide the failure retry count, failure retry interval, and save the job. Now that you have successfully created the job, let's manually start the job for this demo. Open the predecessor job and select Start, and then click Go. AutoSys displays a pop-up message asking for confirmation to start the HTTP job. Click Yes. Open the dependent HTTP job definition and select Start, and then click Go. AutoSys displays a pop-up message asking for confirmation to start the HTTP job. Click Yes. On job run, the dependent job gets the authentication token from the predecessor job and checks for the existence of a file with a file name that matches a specified regex expression. Thank you for watching the training video on HTTP jobs.